Today we're going to be looking at another one of Kurzgesagt's videos, specifically AI superintelligence, humanity's final invention, this menacing thumbnail. I actually think the nuclear industry would be one of the last industries to adopt an AI like this. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Tyler Folse. I'm a nuclear engineer with a little over 10 years of experience in the commercial nuclear power industry, from engineering operations to emergency response. I don't claim to know everything there is nuclear, but I can certainly share some knowledge. Let's check this out.
Humans rule Earth without competition, but we're about to create something that may change that. Our last invention, the most powerful tool, weapon, or maybe even entity, artificial superintelligence.
I guess it means last invention as in it's either going to wipe us out or it's going to do all the inventing for us so we don't have to be bothered anymore. Interesting. Suppose it depends what you mean by invent.
This sounds like science fiction, so let's start.
I wish Tesla trucks were just science fiction.
To the beginning. Intelligence is the ability to learn, reason, acquire knowledge and skills, and use them to solve problems. Intelligence is power, and we're the species that exploited it the most.
Dragon
so
Ball.
Much so that humanity broke the game of nature and took control. But the journey there wasn't straightforward. For most animals, intelligence costs too much energy to be worth it. Still, if we track intelligence in the tree of species over time, we can see lots of diverse forms of intelligence emerge. The earliest brains were in flatworms 500 million years ago, just a tiny cluster of neurons to handle basic body functions. It took hundreds of millions of years for species to diversify and become more complex.
And now I bet they're going to show how quickly our computing knowledge and computer brains have evolved.
Life conquered new environments, gained new senses, and had to contend with fierce competition over resources. But in nature, all that matters is survival, and brains are expensive. So for almost all animals, a narrow intelligence fit for a narrow range of tasks was enough. In some environments, animals like birds, octopuses, and mammals evolved more complex neural structures. For them, it paid off to have more energy-consuming skills like advanced navigation and communication. Until 7 billion years ago, the hominins emerged. We don't know why, but their brains grew faster than their relatives. Something was different about their intelligence. Very slowly, it turned from narrow to general, from a screwdriver to a multi-tool, able to think about diverse problems.
Yeah.
2 million years ago, Homo
Yeah, there's a reason why you needed that kind of brain to design something as sophisticated as a nuclear power plant.
erectus saw the world differently from anyone before, as something to be understood and transformed. They controlled fire, invented tools, and created the first culture. We probably emerged from them around 250,000 years ago with an even larger and more complex brain. It enabled us to work together in large groups and to communicate complex thoughts. We used our intelligence to improve our lives, to ask how things worked and why things are the way they are. With each
And to make videos like this. I don't see AI in the tag, so I think we're good.
discovery, we asked more questions and pushed forward, preserving what we learned, outpacing what evolution could do with genes. Knowledge builds on knowledge. Progress was slow at first and then sped up exponentially. Agriculture, writing, medicine, astronomy, or philosophy exploded into the world. 200 years ago, science took off and made us even better at learning about the world and speeding up progress. 35 years ago, the internet age began.
It's interesting that it mentions 200 years ago. That's a bit how the steam generating part of a nuclear power plant is. That sort of steam cycle is about 200 years old. So we still have some of the older stuff, but I get what they mean.
Today, we live in a world made to suit our needs, created by us, for us. This is incredibly new. We forget how hard it was to get here, how enormous the steps on the intelligence ladder were, and how long it took to climb them.
Shoulders of giants.
But once we did, we became the most powerful animal in the world in a heartbeat. But we may be in the process of changing this. We're building machines that could be better at the very thing that gave us the power to conquer the planet. Humanity's final invention. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is software that performs mental tasks with a computer. code that uses silicon instead of neurons to solve problems. In the beginning, AI was very simple. Lines of code on paper, mere proofs of concept to demonstrate.
Not me, I'm not that old, but some of my coworkers have used these sort of printed instructions, punch cards to put into their computers to do some of their engineering projects, and then it's like, all right, it's calculating, I'll be back in, 30 minutes or so while it sorts through the cards and all that. And to give you a sense of how far nuclear lags, early in my career, I think it was 2014, we used a reactivity computer, a computer that measures neutron flux, power levels at very low power during testing right after a reactor startup. And it used Windows 95, and it still showed the old, it's now safe to turn off your computer. For those of you that are watching this that are too young, that's how long it took for your computer to save so you don't lose anything.
How machines could perform mental tasks. Only in the 1960s did we start seeing the first examples of what we would recognize as AI. A chatbot in 1964, a program to sort through molecules in 1965. Slow, specialized systems requiring experts to use them. Their intelligence was extremely narrow, built for a single task inside a controlled environment. The equivalent of flatworms 500 million years ago doing the minimum amount of mental work. Progress in AI research paused several times when researchers lost hope in the technology. But just
AI
like
winters.
Changing environments create new niches for life,
AI winters a bit like when massive ice ages occurred. It's the first I've heard that term.
the world around AI changed. Between 1950 and 2000, computers got 1 billion times faster, while programming became easier and widespread.
And yet, when I was in college, I still had to use Fortran 77. And I'm talking late 2000s, early 2010s. That should give you a sense how old nuclear computing technology is relative to others.
In 1972, AI could navigate a room. In 1989, it could read handwritten numbers. But it remained a fancy tool, no match for humans. Until in 1997, an AI shocked the world by beating the world champion in chess, proving that we could build machines that could surpass us. But we calmed ourselves because a chessbot is quite stupid. Not a flatworm, but maybe a bee, only able to perform a specialized narrow task.
Sure.
But within this narrow task, it's so good that no human will ever again beat AI at chess. As computers continued to improve, AI became a powerful tool for more and more tasks. In 2004, it drove a robot on Mars. In 2011, it began recommending YouTube videos to you.
True.
But this was only possible because humans broke down problems into easy-to-digest chunks that computers could solve quickly. Until we taught AIs to teach themselves. Rise of the self-learning machines.
That's going to be interesting because it could teach itself a lot more efficiently than we can teach it.
Is not a technical video, so we're massively oversimplifying here. In a nutshell, the sheer power of supercomputers was combined with the almost endless data collected in the information age to make a new generation of AI. AI experts began drastically improving forms of AI software called neural networks, enormously huge networks of artificial neurons that start out being bad at their tasks. They then used machine learning, which is an umbrella term for many different training techniques and environments that allows algorithms to write their own code and improve themselves. The scary thing is that we don't exactly know.
So machine learning and nuclear engineering, I mean, it could definitely help out with, say, reactor design simulation just by using algorithms to optimize your reactor designs and improve nuclear fuel efficiency. Because when it comes down to it, a lot of fuel loading schemes really amounts to playing a game of Scrabble. It even kind of looks like a Scrabble board, and this is an oversimplification. Because not every fuel assembly is enriched the same. Sometimes they have different inserts. You'll see in here that some of the fuel assemblies have control banks. Some of them have shutdown banks. A control bank is a control rod that controls reactor power level, whereas a shutdown bank is physically the same thing, but those only insert when you fully shut down the reactor, just to give you additional margin to ensure the reactor is absolutely shut down. There's also neutron sources and certain types of fuels that are designed to burn out more quickly than others to give you a nice uniform distribution that optimizes core temperature, power density, radiation density, among other things, to have your core run as efficiently as possible. Machine learning can also help detect anomalies, any potential failures even before they happen. You could do the same optimization tools with radiation shielding, as well as spent fuel pool layout, essentially another Scrabble board, but with different parameters. Things like that are where I could see AI machine learning stepping in, but those are all like design choices and monitoring functions, not the AI actually taking command and control of a nuclear power plant. That's going to take a whole lot of regulatory tests before you even get anywhere close to that. And personally, I don't think we're there, at least not yet. It's going to take a good bit of convincing, and I'll acknowledge my own bias on both the design and operations aspect of human nuclear engineering, that it's going to take a lot of convincing even for people like me, and I'm not a regulator.
How they do it and what happens inside them. Just that it works, and that what comes out the other end is a new type of AI, a capable black box of code. These new AIs could master complex skills extremely quickly.
I know this is an oversimplification, but it's an interesting idea.
With much less human help. They were still narrow intelligences, but a huge step up. In 2014, Facebook AI could identify faces with 97% accuracy. In 2016, an AI beat the best humans in the
97% sounds like a lot, but it is still, I'm just thinking as far as security face recognition thing, that's not in your acceptance criteria threshold, at least under most like facial security things that I'm aware of.
Incredibly complex game of Go. In 2018, a self-learning AI learned chess in 4 hours just by playing against itself, and then defeated the best specialized chess bot.
Fascinating.
Since then, machine learning has been applied to reading, image processing, solving tests, and much more. Many of these AIs are already better than humans for whatever narrow task they were trained, but they still remained a simple tool. AI still didn't seem that big of a deal for most people. And then came the chatbot ChatGPT. The work that went into it is massive. It trained on nearly everything written on the internet to learn how to handle language, which it now does better than most people. It can summarize, translate, and help with some maths problems. It's incredibly more broad than any other system just a few years ago.
I'm not sure I know anyone that doesn't use ChatGPT or some similar chatbot.
Not crushing any single benchmark, but all of them at once. Many large tech companies are spending billions to build powerful competitors. AI is already transforming customer service, banking, healthcare, marketing, copywriting, creative spaces, and more. AI-generated content has already taken hold of social media, YouTube, and news websites.
For those of you that haven't seen them yet, I'm thinking at least a quarter, maybe as much as half of my shorts are debunks of bad nuclear AI. So yes, I'm seeing plenty of that out there.
Elections are expected to be inundated by propaganda and misinformation. No one...
Yes. See, that's an example of one. Thank you, Kurzgesagt, for pointing out things like nuking the moon.
Sure how much good or harm can come from adopting AI everywhere. Change is scary. There will be winners and losers. One of the
I like that they said change as in they were dropping coins. That's pretty funny, Kurzgesagt.
Biggest questions governments and corporations have now is how to manage the transition to an AI-boosted economy. All these potential gains
I mean, we're already there, so it's been maybe subtle over the past 10 years, but it's not like it's an overnight or one flipping the switch. I mean, I know they're simplifying here, but I feel like we're already there.
Risks are just the result of today's AI. ChatGPT's intelligence is a major step up, but it remains narrow. While it can write a great essay in seconds, it doesn't understand what it's writing. But what if the AIs stopped being narrow? General AI. What makes humans different from current AI is our general intelligence. Humans can technically absorb any piece of knowledge and start working on any problem. We're great at many very different.
Now this is where things could get interesting. So I'm just trying to think, for a nuclear general AI that not only runs simulations, but it could even interpret the results, and then it could just give you a flat recommendation on whether or not to go further down exploring this technology. For, say, a molten salt cooled reactor that uses thorium, just to name an example. And it would go run simulations, and not just simulations for how the reactor, its control systems work, but also its predictions of how the public react to the construction, how investors react, how politicians react, and then give you a recommendation of should you invest, I don't know, $50, $100 million down that line. Whereas if you were to ask something like ChatGPT right there, it wouldn't give you that much of a straight answer, and then it would say, oh, please consult with experts in nuclear engineering, experts in investments, that sort of thing. It usually doesn't give you a straight answer if you were to ask it a question like that. But this one would, and it would give you like results from a simulation in its interpretation. And this is the sort of one that would also not just monitor, but also control your reactor systems. If you're making it, say, a nuclear operations AI. And if there's an issue, it would fully do the root cause analysis, go through fault trees, and make its decision, execute the decision, all in the fraction of a second, not even bothering to tell humans because humans are too slow for it. That's the sort of stuff that it's like, okay, I'm not sure we can keep up with that. If it does all that stuff, that takes a lot of personnel hours and a fair bit of money. So granted, it would save us a lot, but at the same time, are we really in control of our own destiny at that point? And note that I'm just using a still fairly narrow general nuclear AI, not a true general AI that would probably looks at so many other implications that I haven't even thought of.
Skills and tasks, from playing chess to writing or solving science puzzles. Not equally, of course. Some of us are experts in some fields and beginners in others, but we can technically do all of them. In the past, AI was narrow and able to become good at one skill, but was rather bad in all the others. Simply by building faster computers and pouring more money into AI training will get us new, more powerful generations of AI.
Instead, AIs do require the use of a lot of power. That's the other thing, as far as public opinion and stuff, it wouldn't even care because it's an AI, it's slow. I wonder if the AI would just make nuclear power plants because it knows it's the most efficient. I could be wrong, or the AI could say I'm wrong in that regard, that it's like, nope, just need the power for all of the massive data centers I need to power my hyper-intelligence. Yeah. And it would make that decision so quickly, too.
But what if the next step for AI is to become a general intelligence like us, an AGI? If the AI improvement process continues as it...
As an American, I just think of AGI like a government-issue soldier, which could eventually reach the rank of general, so I guess there is a connection there.
Has been, it's not unlikely that AGI could be better in most or even all skills that humans can do. We don't know how to build AGI, how it will work,
the AI
or
might,
what it will be able to do. Since narrow AIs today are capable of mastering one mental task quickly, AGI might be able to do the same with all mental tasks. So even if it starts out stupid, and
I like the menacing looking mask thing and the sinister tentacles and all that.
AGI might be able to become as smart and capable as a human. While this sounds like science fiction, most AI researchers think this will happen sometime this century, maybe already in a few years. Humanity is not ready for what will happen next, not socially, not economically, not morally.
The green glow must be from all the nuclear power plants, right? No.
Earlier, we defined intelligence as the ability to learn, reason, acquire knowledge and skills, and use them to solve problems, all things humans excel at. An AGI as intelligent as even an average human would already disrupt modern civilization because they're not bound by the same limitations as we are. Today's AIs like ChatGPT already think and solve the tasks they were made for at least 10 times faster than even very skilled humans. Maybe AGI will be slower, but it may also be faster, maybe much faster.
it might start out slower, but then progressively learn faster over time.
And since AGIs are software, you could copy them endlessly as long as you have enough storage and run them in parallel.
You're going to need a lot of energy to do that, though, and that's, again, nuclear power plus data centers.
There are 8 million scientists in the world. Now imagine an AGI copied 1 million times and put to work. Imagine 1 million scientists working 24/7, thinking 10 times faster than humans without being distracted, only focused on the task they've been given. What if, suddenly, AGI could do...
Now, would AGIs actually be more susceptible to becoming distracted than the more specialist AI? Because a specialist knows how to just do that one thing and nothing else, but could a different line of code but wouldn't that mean AGIs, just since they're more general, they have more of a sense to switch tasks? Kind of like in any time management program, they speak out against the multitasking myth and they say you're switching back and forth. I mean, an AI is probably more efficient at that than humans are, but I'm just wondering, I'm not an expert in AI, but would an AGI be more susceptible to some sorts of less efficient processes just by virtue of it being a general functioning AI rather than specialist?
All intelligence-based jobs in the world, from interpreting law to coding to creating animated YouTube videos, better, faster, and much cheaper than humans.
I don't know about better, but certainly we're at the faster and cheaper stage of seeing a bunch of AI videos, but they're, at least the ones I've seen that are nuclear related, they are not better.
Would whoever controls this AGI suddenly own the economy? And thinking bigger, human progress...
Could you control it, and can one person control it? Those are the two big questions I have right there.
Is our intelligence applied to problems? So what could 1 million AGIs achieve? Solve fundamental questions of science, like dark energy. Invent new technology that gives us limitless energy. Fix climate change. Cure aging and cancer. But then again, sadly, humans apply their intelligence not just for the benefit of all. What if the AGIs are tasked to guide drones or pull the triggers in war? Or to engineer a virus that only kills people with green eyes?
Or they just decide to wipe us out and, hit us with something that's no warning, asymptomatic, and just takes us all out in one massive kill switch. Not sure why the AI would want to do that, but I've heard that one before from some AI fearmongers. I don't buy it, though.
Or to create the most profitable social media so addictive that people starve in front of their screens. The creation of AGI could reasonably be as big of an event as taming fire or electricity, and give whoever invents it equally as much power. But now let's go one step further. What if the potential of AGI doesn't stop here? Intelligence explosion. Intelligence and knowledge build and accelerate each other, but humans are limited by biology and evolution. Once we evolve the right hardware...
Okay, that's what I was kind of thinking earlier, how it's going to surpass. And that's what they were saying with one person that can control it. So I was maybe thinking one step ahead to the point where you can't.
Our software outpaced evolution by orders of magnitudes, and within a heartbeat, we ruled this planet. But our software basically hasn't changed much since then, which is why we have obesity and destroy the climate for short-term gains.
I wouldn't say we've destroyed the climate, and it's interesting comparing that to obesity, but again, they're overgeneralizing.
Since AGI is software on a computer, once it's smart enough to do AI research, the rate of AI progress should speed up a lot, and that results in better AI that's better at AI research without much human involvement. It may even be possible that AI could learn how to directly improve itself, in which case some experts fear this feedback loop could be incredibly fast. Maybe just months or years after the first self-improving AGI is switched on. Maybe it would actually take decades.
Like prompt criticality with AI. For those of you that don't know, prompt criticality is when the prompt neutrons from fission, that is to say the ones that show up almost instantly, could be as short as 10 to the minus 15 seconds, are enough to create a self-sustaining fission reaction. In a nuclear power plant, they are delayed critical, and that's when the delayed neutrons, that is to say ones that show up full seconds later control it. So delayed critical, very safe, controllable in a nuclear power plant with clear limits, supported by robust, diverse, and redundant safety systems to safely generate power. Whereas prompt critical, that's a key component of how nuclear bombs work, is you're supposed to have so many fissions in such a short period of time to create an explosion, a nuclear explosion, or a thermonuclear explosion that involves fusion by having said fission get things hot enough to induce fusion in the fusion fuel. Yep.
We simply don't know. This is all speculative. But such an intelligence explosion might lead to a true super-intelligent entity. We don't know what such a being would look like, what its motives or goals would be, what would go on in its inner world. We could be as laughably stupid to a superintelligence as squirrels are to us, unable to even comprehend its way of thinking. This hypothetical scenario keeps many people up at night. Humanity is the...
Yeah, I've heard this one quite a bit. Whenever people mention AI, there's always the group of people that are really afraid.
Only example we have of an animal becoming smarter than all others, and we have not been kind to what we perceive as less intelligent beings. AGI might be the last invention of humanity. It's possible that it could become the most intelligent and therefore most powerful being on Earth. A god in a box that could exercise its power to bring unimaginable wealth and happiness to humans while securing our future. Or it could subvert civilization and bring about our end, with humanity unable to come up with a way to stop it. Well, look.
I know this is a depiction, but if it wanted to, something that hyper intelligent, if it wanted to either destroy us, it happened before we even realized it. But if it wanted us to help us out, it could be beyond just mandatory pampering. It could do things that truly help us not only meet our basic survival, food, water needs, but also some of the higher order ones, the need for love and belonging and self-actualization. And that's just based on our understanding of human psychology. It might have an even better understanding of human psychology that beggars our imagination.
Look at some of these potential futures in more videos, but for now, let's wrap up. The only thing we know for sure is that today, right now, many of the largest and richest companies in the world are racing to create ever more powerful AIs. Whatever our future is, we are running towards it.
Yep. The way I see it, it's exciting just like any other piece of new technology. Either way, I think it's an exciting time to be alive. Let me know if you think I'm too optimistic. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.